at Xavier University Convocation Center. And the other update will be the stunt driving or the reckless operation event that occurred this past Sunday across our city. With me, I have, on behalf of the Mayor, Commissioner Tanisha Stevens, Office of Criminal Justice, I have our partners from the Crime Stoppers, Ms. Darlene Costanza, Deputy Superintendent of Field Operations, Chris Goodley, our Chief of Investigation Service Bureau, Lawrence Dupree, as well as many of our important investigators that have played a major role in both investigations, meaning homicide detectives as well as 5th District detectives or leadership with regards to the 5th District stunt driving incident. I want to start by first and foremost expressing my thoughts, prayers, and condolences to the family of Miss Augustine Greenwood. It really absolutely makes no sense that we have to stand here today to speak to such a senseless act. It's heartbreaking, it's heart-wrenching to even have to think about it. But we're here to give an update and hopefully give some sort of closure to this family with regards to this particular incident. On Tuesday, May 31st, 2022, at approximately 11:50 a.m., students as well as family members who were attending a Morris Jefferson commencement ceremony at Xavier University Convocation Center were leaving when a verbal altercation began between two females. This took place in the parking lot of that Convocation Center. It then turned physical when others joined in from both sides of this dispute. As she was attempting to flee this parking lot, Ms. Greenwood was unfortunately shot in the 7900 block of Stroller. She was then relocated, as we all know, to University Medical Center, where she was then pronounced deceased. We have identified and obtained arrest warrants for 4 individuals involving this incident. And the family has been notified of these arrest warrants, as well as our VOWS unit has been attempting to locate these individuals over the last 24 to 48 hours. The first individual would be a Miss Laverne Duplessis, 40 years of age. We have a warrant for her arrest for manslaughter, obstruction of justice, and carrying a gun in a gun-free zone. The next individual is Mr. Brandon Rock, 18 years of age. We do not have a picture of Mr. Brandon Rock at this time. He is wanted for manslaughter, carrying a gun in a gun-free zone, and he was one of the individuals that was shot in this incident. Next is Mr. Frank Bartholomew, 49 years of age. He is wanted for obstruction of justice. And last is a 15-year-old juvenile carrying a gun. He is wanted for carrying a gun in a gun-free zone as well. He was also one of the individuals shot in this incident. We have received many tips and calls and statements from witnesses, either directly or through Crime Stoppers. We've collected as many as 6 weapons on that scene that day. And I think that's something we really need to point out, how we were able to collect 6 weapons at a high school graduation. So that tells us that people are bringing weapons to a graduation and not balloons, not flowers, not cards, commending our youth as they're taking a huge step in their lives. So we have to think about the mentality of where we are as a society when we have to bring a weapon to a graduation as opposed to something to uplift someone who has made a major accomplishment within their life. So our homicide unit has worked relentlessly to connect a complex set of physical evidence and sometimes conflicting statements. So it has taken us some time of these involved and witnesses to this incident. I want to thank these homicide detectives that are up here with us, as well as their counterparts throughout their unit and our district, as well as Xavier University and others, all who have ATF as well as FBI. They've all played a major role, as well as Crime Stoppers, to getting us to this point. But this is not the end. We know that there's more information out there. We know that more people have seen more things. And we need that information. So we're asking you to bring that information to us. I want to thank our partners at the FBI, ATF, because they played a vital role in getting a lot of the information that we received when it come to these weapons and things of that nature. I've talked many times about being responsible, some self-responsibility, and parenting, and parents and adults in our community setting a good example for our youth and having positive roles in our children's life. This incident that occurred could have been prevented. Children will be children. I mean, we as adults, we have disputes. They even escalate to the point of maybe a physical fight. When we escalated to the point of bringing into a weapon into play, that is a whole different animal. That's a whole different element. And we had adults on this scene that could have prevented all of this. We had officers working inside as well as outside, NOPD officers as well as Xavier University. Nevertheless, individuals chose still to use a weapon to solve their matters. And that is a mentality, that is a huge problem that we as a city, we as a state, honestly, we as a nation, we have to overcome. We have to stop resulting to using guns as our means of ending any type of problems. We have to identify what are the issues within our homes. Look into that mirror and see what can we do or what should we be doing differently. Conflict resolution skills have to be brought up and discussed and pushed and enhanced into everyone. So again, this is a sad situation that we will hopefully be able to bring some closure to the family, give some peace to this family. And if you may note, the two females that started this with the fight, they were not charged with anything with regards to this particular incident. But again, the adults, they're the ones who we're looking for. They're the ones who played a major role in this. So we just have to do better when it comes to resolving our conflicts. That is all I have to say with regards to Xavier University and Morris Jeff commencement ceremony. I want to transition to the stunt driving, the reckless driving this past Sunday. And after I do that, I'm going to ask Ms. Darlene to say a few words, and then we'll go into a Q&A. So we have also made significant progress in that video, those videos that went viral this past Sunday. We've secured 5 arrest warrants for individuals involved in this reckless driving incident that occurred this past Sunday. We could not have done it without the community. I want to truly, truly thank the community for the overwhelming number of calls, tips, any information that they had. I've seen social media pages in which members of our community condemned these actions and supported our police officers. And I want to thank them for their words. I want to thank them for their thoughts, their prayers. I want to thank everyone who gave us the information that was needed to identify these 5 individuals. But again, this case is not closed either. And this will continue to be an ongoing investigation. But as a result of the great work by 5th District and its detectives and our officers working with them, as well as our federal and state partners, as well as local partners that work with them, and the cooperation of our community, we were able to identify 5 individuals for this incident so far. And this is the incident at St. Claude and St. Roch. First, beginning with Mr. Tyler McKinney. Tyler McKinney, 21 years of age. He is from New Orleans. Tyler is wanted for aggravated obstruction of a highway in Commerce. And this is that charge I spoke about before that carries up to 15 years in jail. So we are no longer talking about reckless operation or careless operation. We're going as far as we can possibly go. And I am also in conversation with the U.S. Attorney's Office about possible federal charges, if they are applicable. He's also wanted for federal simple criminal damage to property in the amount of $5,000, simple assault, disturbing the peace by tumultuous behavior, and rioting. That is Tyler McKinney. Next is Mr. Eduardo Gomez. Eduardo Gomez, who is 26 years of age, is also from New Orleans. And he is actually one of the drivers in one of these incidents as well. He is wanted for aggravated obstruction of a highway and commerce, disturbing the peace by tumultuous behavior, and rioting. The next three are all juveniles, so we will not have pictures of them. One is a 17-year-old juvenile from Denham Springs. He is wanted for aggravated obstruction of a highway and commerce, felony simple criminal damage to property in the amount of $5,000, simple assault, disturbing the peace by tumultuous behavior, and rioting. The next juvenile is 16 years of age, and he is from Kenner, Louisiana. He is wanted for the same, aggravated obstruction of a highway and commerce, felony simple criminal damage to property in the amount of $5,000. Of course, when we say this felony simple criminal damage to property, that is our police unit, which individuals were jumping on. Simple assault, disturbing the peace by tumultuous behavior, and rioting. And the last juvenile, 17 years of age, is from Metairie, Louisiana. Excuse me. And he was actually a driver of a gray Chrysler 300 in this incident. He is wanted for aggravated obstruction of a highway and commerce, principal to felony simple criminal damage to property in the amount of $5,000, principal to simple assault, disturbing the peace by tumultuous behavior, and rioting. Again, I want to thank everyone for what they have done to get us to this point. I want to publicly commend that officer for his professionalism and his patience during a difficult time. He was placed in an awkward position while also waiting for his backup. And he did his due diligence in trying to make sure that he was able to engage in a professional way as well as be smart and tactful and not placing himself in further danger. I know many may question some of the decisions that we make on a daily basis, but guess what? We have to make a split-second decision every day. And I think he did one hell of a job in getting himself out of that situation in a safe manner. So kudos to that officer. And I've spoken to that officer at least 3 times this week, and he is in great spirits. And I just wanted to let him know that we support him as well as every other officer on this police department. And he was in a difficult situation. He was able to get out of it. I praise him for that. So with that being said, I hope that these 5 warrants, again, these individuals that we're looking for more support to identify the other individuals involved in the other cases, meaning specifically Calliope and Annunciation, Orleans and Galvez, and all the other locations that we've had. But I hope that by obtaining these warrants for these 5 individuals, this is a message to anyone else in the future who think that they can conduct or engage in this kind of behavior without any consequences. We will hold you accountable. We have had conversation with our district attorney office. We have had conversation with our U.S. attorney's office. We're pulling every resource we can together to ensure that we're making an intelligent approach, an intelligent decision as to how we're going to make sure that this doesn't happen again. And if it does happen, just know that we can and we will find you. With that, I'm going to ask Ms. Darlene to come and say a few words, and then I'll come back for questions and answers.
Thank you, Chief. And first, I want to thank the officers, the task force, 5th District, everybody who's worked on all of these cases, because I want to echo the fact that we got a lot of information that we sent over, record numbers of tips. And to me, the community is saying, you know, we're not going to stand for this anymore. Rightfully so. They spoke up because they were angry, they're upset, but also they need to understand the work that went behind this to get to today in such a quick way. So I definitely want to say thank you in both of these instances. Also in the Xavier, the graduation, we got tips, a lot of tips on that, and people again were outraged. The other thing I want to do is I want to apologize to the students who were graduating that day on behalf of these people who have to take these actions and escalate and start shooting outside of a graduation. I'm going to apologize to you on their behalf because you didn't deserve it that day. You deserve to be complimented, you deserve to be celebrated, just like this grandmother was there to do. So what I want you to take away with this is, on each of those cases, there's a price tag out there to have people brought in for justice. On the shooting at the graduation, we consider that a mass shooting because there were 3 people injured. One obviously is deceased. That's a $5,000 cash reward. So for those of you who have sent us information that has been used, you're going to get some of that reward. For those of you who are going to make the call to make this arrest quickly and let us know where these people are, there's money there for you too. On the racing and jumping on a police vehicle, yes, there's rewards out there for you too. These are felony crimes. These are all felony crimes. So that's up to $2,500 per case. So those who gave us information, tips were used, you're going to get some of that. Those of you who tell us where they are now so they can make this quick arrest, there's reward money for you too. So I close with the fact that Crime Stoppers is very thankful and appreciative that the community trusts us in all of the pathways to provide the information, but let's not stop on this instance. Let's continue, because the more that you're able to provide information to us, the quicker we can bring peace to families. And conflict resolution, all of the things, the soft things around this, the emotional things that we need to have, I'm gonna put a challenge out there. Crime Stoppers wants to hear from you. We are talking about doing, as an organization, listening groups. And I use the word listening because we want you to know that we understand this is a very complex issue. But we want to be able to be part of that for you, so we're not here having to offer rewards. We're here saying it's peaceful. There is, these murders are stopping. So reach out to us. We want to hear from you. The other thing we're doing is conflict resolution classes. We're doing them in schools. But we would love to do them for neighborhood groups, for parents who feel helpless, for adults, for grandparents. Reach out to us. Let us know how we can help you. Thank you.
Thank you, Darlene. So at this point in time, I'll yield to Gary. Any questions?
So I'd like your response on recent violent crime. In the last 4 days, there have been 10 murders.
Mm-hmm.
What's your response to that?
I mean, it's disheartening, first and foremost. Again, I mean, I mentioned to this, or I could say alluded to this before. We have to look at the mentality of ourselves, the mentality of society. We are making decisions in a haste, and it's 0 to 1,000. I mean, I think there's some mental issues that we are not addressing as a society. I just from a personal perspective, I look at, we look at things saying, well, all the disparities when it comes to educational opportunities, job opportunity, things of that nature. While that exists, we cannot continue to use that as an excuse. I mean, I grew up in a single-parent home. I never once thought about picking up a gun to shoot someone. I had conflicts. I remember having a fight with a friend of mine. I could call him a friend now, but I had a fight with a guy in the 9th grade. We both went to the principal's office. We were suspended, and we walked home together from the principal's office and had a 3-day vacation. But we walked home together, and never once did we think about shooting each other. And we have to think about that. There are too many weapons on the street. We have to think about our gun laws and how easily accessible they are, and just think of a different way in which we can do things. And I like what Darlene said about that. We have to find a way where we can collectively look at some of this stuff, meaning working together in conflict resolution.
What about some of the retaliation shootings or the street justice kind of shootings?
I mean, what could be said about that? I mean, we as a criminal justice system do our best, meaning not just NOPD, every aspect to try to embrace or earn the trust of individuals to allow the system to work for them, but some believe that they rather take it into their own hands. And unfortunately, in many cases, that is what we are seeing.
The last question real quick. The homicide that happened yesterday in Algiers, Cody Davis, is he related to Nairobi Davis?
That is still under investigation now. We have reason to believe he possibly is, but that is still under investigation right now.
Advocate,
Yes, when were district commanders first made aware that groups were promoting a possible event of car stunt takeover on Sunday?
I'm not sure exactly when, but I mean, by the time when they officially were informed of it, they were addressing it, which is that Sunday itself. But when the district captains or commanders were actually notified of it, I would have to imagine sometime during that day, but not in a way in which we could have planned for it or some sort of response. So again, these activities or these events are things that are occurring in a way in which they're pop-ups. So all we can really do is try to prepare ourselves as best as we can to get in front of them to hopefully be in the right places where we know they're going to happen at and deter them before they occur.
I have a few questions on each case, just nuts
Mhm.
and bolts. So on
Make sure that he may be. Wait, let me look at my notes. 16, yes, I think he is one of the ones that jumped on, yes.
Okay. And the 5 warrants that are out, how many different of the 4 places burnouts are they responsible?
Right now, so these 5 individuals that are wanted are all for the St. Roch and St. Claude investigation. Again, the other investigations are still active investigations, and I'm asking anyone who may have information on those, please contact us. We know there may be some correlations in many of these, but these 5 individuals that I want are specifically related to the St. Roch and St. Claude investigation.
Thank you, Chief. Now, on the Xavier Morris, Jeff, all those weapons you talked about that the people had, were they legal weapons? Were they stolen? Were they sold out of trunk?
That is still under investigation. I mean, I don't know if we'll ever be able to prove if anything was sold out of a trunk, anything like that, but that's a part of that partnership with ATF, doing the historical background on these weapons and see who was the initial purchaser and working from that end, but that is still under investigation.
What was the fight about between the 2 females?
Just kids having a disagreement at school, and this disagreement took another step at the graduation.
So they're some 2 of the people who were wanted, or they?
No, the kids that had this dispute are not wanted at all. I said that they don't have any. Yeah, they don't have any. They're not wanted for anything involving this homicide at all. And that's the sad sort of part of this. They're involved in a fight. Adults who could have stopped this fight actually escalated everything to a gun violence. Yes.
Okay, but who did the shooting? Did either of them do the shooting?
The two females who started had absolutely nothing to do with the gunfire exchange at Xavier.
Okay, so were the adults related to them and kind of?
Family members, we believe they're family members of either family members or associates of each party.
Are they students of Morris Jeff?
Who?
The girls and.
We believe they're students that began, yes.
So they were just graduated and.
I want to say that they're graduates. They may have just been students there, attending the graduation.
And the relatives / parents / adults are the ones who escalated it to actually pulling weapons?
Yes.
And we don't know if they had weapons legally. We know they couldn't have them on campus because it was a no gun.
And you had the signs out there and everything saying no guns zone. All right. All right. Thank you all again.